Oh, I knew looking at the camera. Is that where I'm? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm here, bro.
You good now?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, let's get it, bro.
All right. You ready? You ready for this?
Hello, audience.
Welcome back to another Couch Potato General Manager video, and we are continuing our 2020 NFL Draft recaps. We are switching our attention, our focus to the Detroit Lions, and the Lions held the third overall pick in this draft. And gentlemen, with that pick, I know we discussed and debated back and forth whether or not they would go with Derek Brown or Jeff Okudah, trade down, maybe Isaiah Simmons, basically having needs at every level of their defense. But ultimately, they opted for Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State, the top corner on all of our boards. So, Headley, why don't you get us started and just give me your thoughts on Okudah and the fit in Detroit?
I think it's a perfect fit, man. Patricia likes to run a lot of man defense, and that's where Okudah shined at Ohio State. Very sticky in and out of his breaks. He's very comfortable in press. His technique is sound. He has those long arms. He can get it on the receiver, throw off the timing of passes. So, when we speak about Matt Patricia's defense, we always go back to Bill Belichick's defense. Bill Belichick has an excellent man-to-man corner in Stephon Gilmore. So if Okudah could be anything like that or even half of Gilmore, I think it would be a success, a great pick at number 3 for Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with everything you said there. And the thing about Okudah, man, is that he is. Well, let me go here. I've heard 2 comps for him. I heard he's Stephon Gilmore, and I heard he's also Champ Bailey. And with his movements, his ability to be so fluid and turn his hips, turn around for the football, everything just looks so easy for him. If you want to, look at and you want to learn how a corner is supposed to play the position, I think he's the perfect example of that. He can do the press man thing. He can play off, and he has the click and the close. I mean, Jeff Okudah was a breath of fresh air in terms of watching, and I would say he looked most comfortable in zone coverage, but I don't think there's not anything he can't do, in my opinion.
All right. Well, the Lions, obviously, they struggled in terms of their pass defense last year, and a lot of that was predicated on their inability to actually affect the passer. But, of course, trading away Darius Slay kind of precipitated the need for Jeff Okudah. So it's a quality pick, and he's going to be a hell of a football player, of course, at one of those kind of cornerstone piece positions. And with the drop-off at the edge position after Chase Young, the pick makes a ton of sense. Moving on to the second round, early in the second round, the Detroit Lions selected D'Andre Swift, the running back out of Georgia. And Drew, previous to the draft, they had Kareem Johnson, Bo Scarborough, and Ty Johnson were their primary backs. You could add J.D. McKissick based on the 2019 roster. What do you think Swift brings to the table here? Is he the lead dog day one in that backfield? And what do you think about his overall skill set?
You know how I feel about comparing players, but I think he's going to be Detroit Lions is Alvin Kamara, if I will, a guy who can be used in plenty of different ways. I know that obviously the Lions they've essentially they're telling me, I don't know about to Lions fans or to anyone else out there, but it looks like they want to run the football. They want to be able to have a back if they lose a Kareem Johnson, to have a DeAndre Swift as another piece, the next guy. But I mean, when they first made the pick, I wasn't really sure. I was like, I don't know, they could have went other places, maybe D tackle. I'm not sure, but no, I get where they're going. I understand where they're going.
Yeah, man, Swift is a tremendous talent. It's funny you mentioned Kamara because I have in my notes he has Kamara tendencies to bounce off tackles. He could take a shot and still maintain his balance and still push forward. He in the open field, he always makes a guy miss. He can catch out of the backfield. I think he's a great pick for the Detroit Lions. I know they probably had bigger needs, but Kerryon has showed inability to stay healthy so far, even in college. So adding another back, and then they even draft another back later on. That's he's an exceptional player as well. So they have a plethora of running backs to the disposal of Matt Patricia.
Headley, you alluded to Swift's ability in the passing game. He's among the best, if not the best, in the class. You know, I certainly the argument can be made for CEH out of LSU, but Swift can line up in your slot. He can make plays as a bona fide receiver. So his diverse skill set obviously does invoke a lot of the Kamara comparisons. And then, of course, his ability to make defenders miss in the open field is really impressive with the dead leg move. So, yeah, I think on that turf, Swift is going to look really good. And assuming Kerryon Johnson can stay healthy, they have an excellent 1-2 punch moving forward. The Lions had a pair of picks in the third round, and they opted for Julian Okwara, the edge out of Notre Dame, with the first of 2 third-round picks. Henley, what do you think about Okwara? He's a little bit raw off the edge, and there seems to be a lack of polish at this point. But what do you think long-term is his prospects?
Yeah, this is a potential upside pick here. Okwara plays with tremendous speed off the edge, could close quickly. Speed is his biggest asset. I think he needs to get a little stronger, get some more pass rushing technique. His brother is on the team as well, so that'll be an easy transition for him maybe. Yeah, man, I do like the upside. He just, like I said, he has to get stronger, add some more pass rushing technique. But this guy's quick. He's fast at the football. He was having a very productive season until the injury. So this is a high upside pick for the Lions.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I thought, like you said, with him and his brother, that may fast tracked him to become the star that some people were kind of pumping him up to be. And like you said, obviously he was injured, but I thought just kind of watching the tape, because I watched his 2018 tape before the season had started, and thought, okay, there's a couple of things that I thought he needed to improve on. Obviously, strength was one of them. I thought, consistency to get to the quarterback. He's got some moves, but I just thought that he needed to add some tools to the tool shed, if you will. And I don't know that he did that this year. I know that Notre Dame used him not only obviously to rush the passes. Obviously they do that in college. They kind of have him drop back in coverage to do a couple of different things.
To your point, Drew, I think some of the versatility that he presents, even though he's not a finished product and he's raw, he's still learning everything he's doing. I think the athleticism, the length, the ability to get after the passer, and the overall athleticism does, give you that versatility along the edge. And Drew, you mentioned you watched the 2018 tape. I think that's the tape that gives you the best impression of Okwara. He had a broken fibula in 2019, cutting his season short. So certainly, if the Lions can continue to develop what we saw in 2018, I think they have a excellent high upside pick, as Headley alluded to, in the third round. With their second third-round pick, they drafted Jonah Jackson, the offensive guard out of Ohio State. And Drew, we had an opportunity to see him at the Senior Bowl. And Jonah Jackson, he was a transfer, as a matter of fact, to Ohio State. And he excels as an interior pass protector. So, Drew, give me your analysis as it pertains to Jonah Jackson.
Watching Jackson's tape, I thought that if you're coming right at him, if you're lined up right over him, and you come off the ball, he was a guy that, if he got his hands on you, you weren't going to win. I thought that, he was able to if he was pushed back, he was able to recover, kind of null and void the pass rush, the bull rush, if you will. Doesn't necessarily need to drop his anchor to win. I've seen many times where his anchor's not down, but he's able to kind of stabilize the bull rush that was coming to him. And I thought that, in the run game, if he got his hands on you, it was going to be Eggo, pancake style, Aunt Jemima, Miss Butterworth, whatever you want to call it. It'll put you in the stands if you let him. He's just looking to punish defenders. Where I thought he struggled was when he had to kind of get out to reach a guy, maybe that gap over. If someone's doing a slant in the opposite direction, he just kind of struggled with those things as a pass, and it was evident. And I know I spoke about he's able to withstand bull rushes, but if it's a more powerful guy, which is what he's going to experience in the league, it may be a problem. But it sounds like it's a technique thing that it can be fixed very quickly. But I guess we'll see.
Before you jump into your analysis, Haley, I just wanted to point out that Jackson, while there are some things that he needs to clean up, and certainly he's not known for his run blocking prowess, which again we've mentioned, Detroit is trying to become more of a physical team at the point of attack. He is a phone booth pass protector, and he only allowed 1 sack in over 1,000 snaps during his collegiate career. So I think, to your point, Drew, if it's just a matter of technique, I think ultimately Jackson will be fine, and he's of good value at this point in the draft. Go ahead, Ellie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was great value for the Lions. I think Jackson is a plug-and-play starter. I think he can start immediately on that Detroit line interior. The first thing I noticed is just how intelligent and aware he is on the football field. He just knows, like, if you're trying to run a stunt, he knows where it's coming from. You know, if he needs to help out, he'll go help out. But I saw the same things as you saw, Drew, where his foot speed might be a little slow to catch those stunts. He knows it's coming. It's just sometimes he can't get over there in time. Speaking on his feet, it's still very patient. He's an excellent pass protector. He just, in the run game, he doesn't show that power. You know, he's not going to push you back, but, you know, right away he could definitely protect Matthew Stafford.
In the fourth round, the Lions select Logan Stenberg out of Kentucky, another Senior Bowl participant. And he's kind of the antithesis of Jonah Jackson, Headley. He matches in the run game, and pass protection is kind of where he struggles. Penalties were an issue, but he also had high marks in the SEC against SEC competition week in and week out. So I think in his case, the pass protection technique and how well he acclimates from that perspective is going to go a long way. What would you think about him when you watched his tape?
Big body guy that's hard to escape his grasp. He plays to the whistle with attitude. He's very gritty. I think he needs to get a little lower in order to get a better push. But, yeah, man, he could come in and run block, compete inside. I think Jonah Jackson has the edge to get on the field quicker because of his pass protection.
Yeah, I pretty much got everything y'all just stated, man. The first thing I got here is if you're asking him to beat the guy in front of you, or in front of him, excuse me, head up, you got to steal him. You got a mauler. You got a guy who relishes mixing it up in the phone booth, if you will. I thought, you know, a couple things that I thought were an issue for him was you know, kind of getting to the second level for me, is obviously the pass blocking. But you kind of see the identity of what the Lions want to do. They want to run the football. They want to play smash mouth football. And listen, this is a guy you don't have to rush onto the field and say, hey, we need you to pass. We need you to pass block 40 times a game. Nah, we're going to do what we want to do. We want to be able to control the football game. We want to be able to run the football. And I think with Logan Stenberg, I think you may have a steal here. But again, I don't know that he beats out Jackson, because like Headley said, Jackson is the better pass blocker. So, I mean, we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me. But we'll see.
In the fifth round, again, another pair of picks in a single round. In the fifth round, with their first fifth-round pick, the Lions selected Quintez Cephus, wide receiver out of Wisconsin. And Drew, I thought Cephus was a bit of an overachiever. He had some off-the-field issues, was dismissed from the team due to allegations that those were unfounded, apparently, and he was brought back. And he was a leader in terms of that Wisconsin passing attack. He has some limitations in terms of his speed, but he makes a contested catch. He's a tough-nosed, grinded-out guy, and I think, you know, he could carve out a role in the slot. But Cephus is a quality player. What do you think about him on tape?
Bigger body guy. We can do the alley-oop game too. I think, like you said, he's probably gonna play better in the slot. As a guy that needed help to get off the line of scrimmage. And again, when you think about Wisconsin, you ain't thinking about those receivers. You're not thinking about, you know, throwing it down the field, throwing it 40 times a game, and, you know, obviously unless they're behind. He's not a quick twitch player and has no quickness. You know, is not the fastest. So I'm trying to figure out I'm not sure the type of receiver that they went for. I don't really know, because I don't know. I'm not really sure about this pick, man, to be honest.
Yeah. You know, actually, I kind of like Cephus, man. I know the 4.7 40 time in the combine threw off a lot of people, but watching the tape, man, he's a physical possession receiver. He plays at 110%. He might not have that long speed, but he's pretty explosive from the snap. He can catch the ball in traffic. He gives you the yards after contact. So, yeah, in the slot, I think in the slot he could be a weapon there, you know what I'm saying? Because that short to intermediate game, that's his game right there.
Jason Huntley, the diminutive running back out of New Mexico State, what did you think about him?
Good contact balance, attacks downhill. He relishes the open field, man. He's one of those backs that once he gets in the open field, he takes it towards the sideline, and he has football speed. Many times I've seen him separate from guys at the second and third levels. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a big-time kick returner for them. So I know they have a lot of running backs on the roster, but he's going to make that 53-man roster because of his kick return ability.
Let me ask you something. Would you put a Huntley on the field and put a Swift on the field at the same time?
Ooh, yeah, that'd be. You know what I'll do? I'll line both running backs in the backfield, and then take
Motion.
Swift out in the flat, motion Swift out there, let the defense know him that way, and get Huntley them inside handoffs, man, because he's very elusive, and in the open field, he's going 6 if he has a space.
John Penisin, the defensive tackle out of Utah, was their 6th-round selection. Drew, what did you think about this particular prospect?
So I got here, and this is gonna sound ridiculous, man, but I got, watching him on tape, I thought he was better versus double teams than he was versus actual one-on-ones.
Wow.
I see why you say that, though.
This man will hold the point of attack, allow others to just kind of do what they need to do. The Gerard Davises of the world, the second level, the third level players coming down into the box, able to kind of run free, and it's a guy who's going to fill gaps and just allow the players behind him to eat. And that's kind of what you want. Guys can get in there and do the dirty work.
Yeah, I have probably an early down player against the run. He doesn't have much pass rushing repertoire. So his strength in his hands, like you said, he could take on a double team. But one thing I did notice with Penisin is he dominated against lower competition, but when he played against those big boys, it wasn't the same Penisin I saw. So that transition to the next level in the NFL, I think it's going to take some time for him.
And to round out their draft picks, you have Jayshawn Cornell, defensive tackle, 5 technique out of Ohio State. And, watching him, he was kind of the unsung hero along that defensive line. Of course, you have Chase Young and then Devon Hamilton on the down line. And at the second level, Malik Harrison, his teammate Jeff Okudah at the second level, or the third level, I should say, and Damon Arnett. So there's a lot of star power on that defense. But Cornell, while he wasn't sexy, he was effective. So Headley, what did you think about Cornell when you watched his tape?
Yeah, definitely a 7th-round potential steal here. He was highly touted recruit. He flashes some quickness. He has some pass rushing potential. So, a lot of times you saw him and Chase Young run some stunts and do some things like that. But, I think that he could work his way onto this roster because of that pass rushing potential that he has.
Yeah, I got here a good jump off the line. A guy I think that can be used on third downs to create pass rush, good use of his hands. But I thought, looking at him, he didn't have a plan every play. So maybe you got to manufacture some things in there. You can teach him some things. But this is a guy I expect to make the roster.
Yeah, I think his flexibility to play, a 1 gap, 2 gap, a 3 technique, or a 5 technique also looms large, considering that Detroit, Matt Patricia, is multiple in terms of his defense. Wanted to discuss one undrafted free agent, and that's Harrison Bryant, the tight end out of Washington. And, depending on who you ask, this guy was a day 2 pick, you know what I mean? Or among the top tight ends in this class, and ultimately he doesn't get selected. Headley, when you watched his tape, what did you like about him? And also, what were your thoughts as to why he wasn't selected?
Watching the tape, he's one of those prototypical move tight ends. You don't want him blocking. You don't want him lining up at that wide position. You kind of want to split out a little bit. The thing about him, though, is he's not that big and he's not that fast. So it's like when you don't have either or, it's like you become like a kind of a tweener. So you're not sure how he's going to be used at the next level. I think that's why he went undrafted. But he has the ability to get open in zone, catch the football, run after the catch. So he has some tools on him. He's just not a guy that you want blocking. And as a move tight end, he's not overly quick or fast either.
Yeah, there's a – go ahead, Drew. You have something to say?
No, he sound like a jag, bro.
Oh, man.
He went undrafted.
I think he's a guy you may have to scheme open, or you might have to might be one of those tight ends where no one's really paying attention type thing. You kind of take advantage, kind of the I hate to say it, but kind of the OJ Howard at Alabama treatment. You know what I'm saying? Kind of one of those things. But I mean, we'll see. I guess I'm not gonna knock on the guy. We'll see what happens. He's growing into the position.
It definitely sounds like a prospect that you're going to have a plan for. It may be an uphill battle for him to make this particular roster, but we shall see. Any thoughts overall on this draft class? Is there anything that stands out to you in terms of the Lions hit this one out of the park? Was it just a solid one, top to bottom? Did they fall flat? Did they not take advantage of that third overall pick and maybe manufacturing some additional draft capital? What were your final thoughts on the draft class as a whole?
Yeah, I thought that they probably could have got some more picks with that, move that third pick around, but I guess teams weren't willing to trade up for that price. But the draft class tells me they want to run the football. They drafted 2 running backs. They drafted some interior offensive line help. I think they got 3 guys that could immediately come in and start with Swift, Okudah, and Jonah Jackson. So you get 3 starters out of the draft, get some depth on the thing. I think it was a pretty solid draft for the Detroit Lions.
And we know how they want to run that defense. They want to kind of, they want to put people in the best position to succeed. So you don't necessarily have to have world beaters in terms of your second level players, or even your upfront players. Just be able to stop the run, and we'll do the rest with how we want to kind of run the defense. So and you go back and you think about the Lions, man. I mean, they lost Matthew Stafford for I don't know how many games for the season essentially, and we're running out quarterbacks. I couldn't even tell you who they were running out at times. So I don't know that this team is that far off, but Stafford has to be there, and they have to be able to run the football. Kerryon Johnson, obviously, if he's not there, they have some depth there. So I don't know that this team's too far off. I just know that the division's a little tough. But I'm good with the draft, man. I see Mona Lisa. I see it. It's not a stick figure.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our 2020 NFL Draft recap for the Detroit Lions. Please like, comment, and subscribe.